Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Retro Pop Planet and welcome back to day one of MAGFest 2023. Today is January 6, 2023. I'm sitting outside the Gaylord in the parking lot here, and I remember to bring my light with me this time. Unusually seasonably warm today. Last year it was frigid and snow on the ground. I had lost power in my house a couple days. Today it was 70 degrees. So hopefully the weather will keep up like this and we won't get any crazy weather storms. This actually is the warmest it's ever been, and I think this is like year 8 or 9 that I've been here. It's about 7:35 on Thursday night, and really all I'm looking to do right now is to get inside, get my badge. I have a feeling that's going to take a little while. It took a little while last year, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same situation, and get the lay of the land, although I've already scoped out the map. Looks pretty much the same as last year, so I actually think everything is going to be in pretty much the same location. And then just see if there's any panels I want to attend and do some walkthroughs, and I'll take you along with me. So let's get in there and wait for our badge. So before we get in there, I want to just address one thing. I've had a couple people ask me in the past, which lot do I stay in? I always stay in the Mariner Garage. We're about a block or so away from the Gaylord. This is what it looks like on Thursday. There are a lot of restaurants and things to do down here, so it fills up, just not with MAGFest people, but with all kinds of people. This is probably the least amount of people that you're gonna see here, and then it gets really crowded once the weekend hits. And it's generally about, I don't know, $30 a day. I'm only gonna be here maybe 3 to 4 hours tonight, so I'm hoping it's not gonna be that expensive, but usually daily rate is about $30. So this year marks the 20th anniversary of MAGFest, and here we are walking through the registration. I'm pre-registered. This is actually the pre-registered line, so you can see there's a ton of people here, and it took me about 30 minutes to get my badge. MAGFest has their own characters, and here they are featured on the badge. MAGFest has shrines, and I'll talk about them later on in future videos. But here's one dedicated to Vivian Westwood and Brendan Fraser. The Gaylord is a massive hotel and event space. So we were just at registration here on the bottom level, and then we're going to make our way over, and the actual main entrance into the show floor is through the marketplace here. I like to spend a lot of time on the first day exploring the marketplace. This is Studio Pen. Check her out on Instagram. I'm one of her followers, and she has a lot of like really cool and cute video game and anime art. There were much more video game sellers here this year, and I really took the opportunity to just explore and scavenge through. You're going to find the same issues as you will just out there in the real world. The prices of video games have skyrocketed in the last few years, and it's really kind of made collecting just not really feasible hobby. You really can't get into this that heavily because the stuff is just extremely expensive. And I'm just here looking through a few things for my original Nintendo Entertainment System. And then there's also some really interesting, unique, Japanese, rare consoles, video games, music, things that I've actually never seen before. There's a Super Smash Bros. Brawl right there sealed for $500. And here's a really awesome find. I love Pac-Man. I love Pac-Man artwork. This is vintage Pac-Man book covers sealed. I was really intrigued by these, but I knew that they were just going to sit in the cover forever. I was never going to use it. And are these bootlegs? I'm not sure. There's an Earthbound NES. I don't believe Earthbound actually ever came on NES. And a really cool vinyl for Totoro, the soundtrack. More glass displays with some crazy prices for games. And if you're a completionist, most of these don't even have manuals. I never knew one kid that was lucky enough to have a TurboGrafx 16 when I was a kid, so I can actually believe these prices because I think they're pretty rare. I was digging these guys' collection of 3D printed artworks, but they were actually closing up for the night. But check out these really fascinating keychains and pinbacks. Here I am admiring all the little details of this little Nintendo console. I received a Intellivision 2 from one of my clients almost 2 years ago, and I have the connections I've purchased. I just haven't hooked it up yet, and I'm looking through their list of Intellivision games, and I think I have this one, but just not in box. And this is pretty cool. They have a huge bin of used light guns for Nintendo. I don't actually own a light gun for my NES, and I always wanted to get one, but I don't have a CRT television. I've seen some other YouTubers do some pretty cool mods for these. And a really nice collection of ColecoVisions, some Star Wars, a Math Blaster, Xbox 360, the Call of Duty edition, some insane prices on Motu and Transformer figures, these really cute Katamari pillows. There's only 2 left. Cassette tape soundtracks. I'm not sure if these are from a studio or if these are bootlegs. I think these Nintendo cards are from Topps, and most of them were sold out by the end of the show. And this guy had done a bunch of mods for old Game Boys, Game Boy Colors. I've been intrigued to do one of these mods for my Game Boy Advance. I just haven't gotten around to it. These prices are pretty reasonable considering the amount of components, how much they cost, and the time that it would have taken to put them together. And all of this vintage Japanese console hardware, original in box, is pretty amazing. And then I had to look at this Nintendo Power. I actually have this. I used it to actually beat Final Fantasy, the first game. The condition, though, of my magazine is near pristine. And these are really interesting. Sega Saturn, I think these are CDs, the soundtracks of the games. This is Neon Evangelion, I think is how you pronounce it. I bought some stuff that I'll show you in a later video, but for now we're going to head over to the consoles. I don't always spend a ton of time in the console section because, honestly, these are games I've played 1,000 times already. But there are a bunch of tournaments that take place in here that I like to come watch. And also, there is a whole section where they do video game challenges. MAGFest developers actually put together challenges for each individual console. There's a whole row of machines, a whole bank of them, and you flash your card and then you can try out these challenges. They're super tough. I'm quickly going to check out the MAGFest Indie Developer Showcase, but when I walked through, they were pretty much closed, so I didn't spend a whole lot of time here on the first night. Or so I thought. I came across this game, Iron Meat. It freaking rules. It's still under development. It's not out yet, but I'm obsessed with it. I stopped to watch a tournament going on here. This game is Kung Fu Kickball. It's a really awesome, fun party game. I played this a lot with some of my friends when we've come to MAGFest. And the goal is to basically kick the kickball into your opponent's bell. It's melee style, a bit like Super Smash Bros. And it can get pretty intense. Although, truthfully, these teams weren't very good. Okay, now on to my favorite section, the arcade. This hall basically has every different type of arcade game you can think of, from rare Japanese games to common machines, pinball, classics, modern games. It literally has everything. I'm trying to show you this beautiful Space Invaders, but it's hard to play one-handed. This incredible Tempest, probably one of my favorite games. These vector-based games are notorious for failing, and this bad boy survived the entire weekend. And as you can imagine, it's pretty hard to play one-handed, so enjoy my bad gameplay. I was stoked to see this tapper. This is the first time I've ever seen a tapper at MAGFest, and we played the S out of this game. And a Tron, which seems to have all of its black lights working. I spend a ton of time playing pinball at MAGFest, and here's a pretty nice Matahari. And a Gorgar, which stopped working by Saturday. Notable as being the first talking pinball machine in 1979. A Williams Black Knight, which was dead on Friday, and I don't know if it ever got fixed. Cool to see a Dragon's Lair, although it's not my favorite game. It's just not that fun. And also, you know, it's Laserdisc, so it didn't last. And this hockey is way more fun, but I'm waiting for the game to start, and it just never did. And then it was broken basically the rest of the weekend. YouTuber John from John's Arcade was working on one of these several years ago, and it was a workaround for Laserdisc, and I'm not sure if he ever actually completed that project. Now I'm just looking over the rows and rows and rows of pinball, and I'm super excited to see how many pinball machines are here this year. I play a lot of video pinball on my computer, and there are some games here which I've never seen in person. I've never played in person, like this Champions Pub. This to me is kind of a rare thing, and I was really excited to play this game. I'm glad I played it on Thursday because the rest of the weekend it was not working. I have hit or miss reactions to Bally machines, and this one was really fun. As was this Congo movie tie-in. I wasn't expecting much, but this game was fun, and this one was not. You'd think somebody could make a good wrestling game. The controller was broken on the Space Harrier on Thursday. They did eventually fix it, but I never got back to it. Theater Magic, which is not considered a great game, I enjoy it. And this machine was broken by the rest of the weekend. Roadshow was here, but I couldn't get near it. It was so popular. Star Wars Episode 1, I destroyed that table. I think I had the high score, or at least for the day. And the Incredible Hulk, the back glass on this is just awesome. MAGFest cosplay, a whirlwind broken. It eventually got fixed, but there was a guy that was on it the whole weekend. And again, most of these games were fixed up and down. Cheetah, which is just an old DM game, not very much fun. Mandalorian, which was popular, I only got on it twice. It's a pretty good game. Ghostbusters, which I like, I know it has some mixed reviews. This had the LED kit. And then a Donkey Kong. At one point, I was on a quest for 100,000 points, and I never broke 20 on this particular outing. I want to go upstairs for a bit now before I check out for the evening, so I'm going to head up. There's a panel that I'm interested in. It was linking Fallout Vegas to The Wire. There are all kinds of spaces to see and do things to keep you entertained, and there is a new section. This was VR. I didn't spend any time down here. I just did a quick walkthrough. I still have never tried VR, and this would have been my opportunity to do so. I just completely forgot about this area. And this is the VR sponsor's merch stand. I'm now going to head across the hall to check out the PC and console museum. I love this freaking room. I love retro technology, and I'm old enough to remember the majority of the stuff in here. This was my lifeline to video games before the NES, the Apple IIe. My parents still have it up in their attic somewhere. And this crazy consumerism. This is a Hot Wheels machine. It's a computer. The mouse is a Hot Wheel. It's got a driving game. I do not remember this. I don't know what it was for, but it's awesome. Here's a Sony PSP they have hooked up to a monitor, and it still looks good. A row of really old personal computers and a Tandy 1000 down there on the end. There are a lot of tech geeks that work in this museum, and I say that with all due respect. There are lots of different crazy mods, Nintendo Zone hosts, little individual lands, gyroscopes, and this really crazy collection of old Japanese hardware. PC Engine, CD-ROM interface unit, Doka Retro, I've never heard of this machine, Othello Multivision, and Sega's Flicky, a Doka Retro. Again, this game was not fun. I played it for a while. I could never figure out exactly what the point was. It's called Star Speeder. And everybody loved this old console television. If you are of a certain age, you had one of these in your house. You probably never had the Atari Jaguar. This machine looks cool, but it sucked. The Vectrex is classic. It is just a timeless machine. This one I don't think was working. And then back to the console that actually had Food Fight hooked up to it, and I played a lot of that. And then moving next door to the Arcade Museum. This is a room they added several years ago, and I really like it. They have a whole row of old Nintendo stand-up displays. That Popeye is so much fun. Nibbler, the X-Men that belong to a legacy MAGFest character, and this Versus Baseball, which I have so much just nostalgia for this game. I own it on the NES. It was one of the first games I actually purchased when I got my NES with my own money. When I lived in Texas, my baseball team, we would meet at the Mr. Gaddy's and eat pizza and just play a ton of this game. Whew, I'm back. It's about midnight, and I did a lot of stuff, more than I thought I was going to. Y'all, MAGFest is rolling hard this year. They're kind of like making up for lost time. This actually might be one of the best ones I've been to in years, and it's not just because there's a lot more people here. It's because the whole arcade section has completely changed. They actually brought back a bunch of the old games, and there are even double the amount of pinballs there were here last year. My very first time here, I think there was like 6 machines, and they've gradually increased over the years. There might be something like 50 or 60 machines now. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. It's a little bit of a drive home. I'm coming back up tomorrow, probably sometime in the early afternoon. And then I've got some friends that are meeting up with me. So we're gonna be in for some more fun. Stay tuned for part 2. See ya.